You're listening to the Life Purpose Advisor podcast, episode 1.
If your best thinking isn't working for you, it's a good idea to start shifting something, and oftentimes moving your body is a good way to do that.
You're listening to the Life Purpose Advisor podcast.
Life purpose, spirituality, higher calling, personal growth, meaningful life.
We ask the deep questions about living a balanced life of meaning, purpose, and joy.
Passion. Know thyself, be mindful, spiritual practice, aha moments, life lessons, balance.
It is time to welcome your host, Angie Swartz.
It is my great pleasure to welcome Laura Rubinstein to our first episode of Life Purpose Ignited. I've known Laura for a few years, and I couldn't be happier to honor her as our first guest. Laura, thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be your first guest.
Great. We're happy to have you. I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction about Laura, and then she's going to tell us all about herself. Laura Rubinstein is a social media and marketing strategist and the co-founder of Social Buzz Club. She is also a master leadership coach, an author, and a certified hypnotherapist. In her 22 years of marketing and relationship development, Laura's creative, innovative, and elegant strategies, tools, and training make her a highly sought-after speaker, coach, and marketing consultant. Laura has optimized marketing and branding plans, transforming more than 1,000 businesses. She is the author of The Feminine Power Cards, Transform Your Body in the Mental Gym, and the best-selling author of Social Media Myths Busted. She offers practical tools that allow people to create more passion and harmony in their relationships and profits in their businesses. Boy, that says a lot, Laura.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
You must be tired. 1,000 businesses, my goodness.
It's been a career full, that's for sure.
I bet, and I'm sure there's more to come.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd love to have a candid conversation with you today about life purpose, hoping to inspire those that are listening to us today to take action based on the things that they hear from you. Are you ready to talk about your life purpose?
Sure, why not? Let's do it.
So tell me, do you know your life purpose? And if you do, what is it?
I believe I do. It is to enhance joy in the world.
Wonderful. Enhance joy in the world. That's a very great statement for a happy, happy life. Did you have an aha moment in finding your purpose?
I actually did. I do remember hiking and being in contemplation at some point just about what's my life all about, what's resonating in my life, and it just kind of came to be matter of fact. It's just being joy. Being joy. That's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to feel. That's all I wanted to be in the world, for the world, make a difference in the world with. But it was like no big deal. It was like, oh, that's it. Yeah, okay. And
right.
That's kind of the way I get the confirmation on things. It's a little bit of a letdown because, sometimes you just want that big, this is what you're supposed to do, or big sign out there saying something, and it's just like, yep, that's it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Good. That takes some pressure off of some of our listeners, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about how knowing that your life purpose is about joy has affected you, your life, and your work?
Well, if it's fun and joyful, I move in that direction. And if it's not, I either do one of two things. I change my perspective and find a way to make it joy-filled, or I choose to move in a different direction. That's kind of my overarching philosophy in my life is like, okay, it's not about yes or no. It's like, do I need to shift? Because joy is a choice. That's my philosophy. So we can make it fun and joyful if we want. And in 2006, I founded my company called Transform Today. It's all about causing that which you want in your life. What I offer is a body of resources and services that people can utilize to transform their personal and their professional lives. I do this for everything from business consulting to hypnosis, coaching, and some self-study programs, social media marketing, to weight loss.
You bring up an interesting point. There's so many people that out there in the market today that are telling small business owners that you have to niche down your practice to do just one thing, and that doesn't seem to work for you.
It doesn't work for me. I'm not advocating it for everyone. I follow this path of joy and my creativity, and I'm a variety kind of gal. Is that the wisest business decision? Not for everybody. So
right.
I'm not advocating that as a business choice. I'm just been my choice because I want to make a difference in the ways that I can and are fun and light me up and light up the world.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. What you mentioned before about living your life by stepping towards joy, there's a very small percentage of the population that actually lives their lives that way. So thank you for being that wonderful example of living a life of joy and happiness and leading by example so that others can see that that can actually work.
Yeah, it can work unless you love drama in your life.
Some people do.
And then admit that to yourself, because that's perfectly fine too. Mine was the path of joy, and joy is a choice. So you could have joy in the drama, I suppose, and you can have joy in the mundane as well. So it's totally simply
subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a hard time coming to this realization about joy? And how old were you when you first knew that was where you were going with your life?
Well, I don't think I was consciously looking for my life purpose, although I was consciously looking for feeling better about myself and just in the world. And once I accomplished that, my life purpose was obvious. And that was more important. Feeling good was more important than having a life purpose. The life purpose was revealed as a result because it's all wrapped up in that, And when I became a hypnotherapist, I realized that my job was to help people feel good. And that's why they came. And they wanted to resolve something that was bothering them in their lives about themselves or about their situation. So to help them, of course, if you're conscious at all, you have to go to the source of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's deep work, even though it seems pretty light. So was it hard to find my life purpose? It wasn't hard to find the life purpose. What took work was becoming conscious.
Right.
The evolution, yeah.
In my coaching practice and my program for finding your life purpose, a lot of the work is around emotional healing. And my belief is that we always know our purpose. It's in our hearts and our higher self, but we're covered up with life things, physical things, factors of living in the physical realm that keep us from seeing those things.
Mm-hmm.
And as you indicated, it can be hard work to decide that you're going to clean up everything, all those stories in your head.
And I don't want to scare anybody off. That word hard scares people off. And to me, hard work is fun, but to others it's not, because it's like, gosh, there's going to be juice and joy at the end of this. And it's the motivation that drives me. It's okay. It doesn't matter if it's hard or easy, or it may not be hard. You may have a different word for it, somebody listening to this. For me, it took conscious awareness and attention, and I was driven for a goal. I wanted that joy. I really wanted to feel better about myself. I did a lot of different things along the way to do that. You asked me what age did I first begin to recognize my life purpose. I think I always was aware of some unique gifts that I had and ways of looking at the world. Did I think about it as my life purpose? No. But when you have unique gifts and you recognize them and you use them for good, you're living your purpose.
We didn't talk about this in our pre-call, but why did you've said a couple times you wanted to feel better about yourself. Why was there a need for that? Do you think everyone is struggling with that a little bit, or?
No, it would be very bold of me to say that everybody's struggling with something that I was. There may be a lot of people who are looking for, but I got to the point in my life, somewhere in my mid to late 20s, and I got kicked out of a relationship and a job on the same day. And that was one of the hints that
right.
needed to change something.
What Laura is referring to is a question that one of my favorite questions, and one that she liked, was what are 3 biggest life purpose hints that come along during your life? Because I believe we get some help. We get some help to wake up and to live a joyful life, in your words, and see our purpose. Yeah. So what were those things for you?
Well, this was a real wake-up call. In 1997, I got kicked out of a job and out of a relationship where I was engaged to a man. We were together over 7 years, and he came home that night and said, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, and I can't marry you. And that was like a really bad day.
Yeah.
And
one of the worst,
but,
I would imagine.
Yeah. And now looking back on it, it was, such a huge opportunity for me because I really took the bull by its horns basically and looked at my life and said, well, what do I want? And I wanted a deeply connected soul, juicy relationship with the love of my life, with someone who adored me and I adored back. And that I had no clue how to create. And it became apparently obvious that in that moment. I mean, I was willing to marry this guy and try and figure out for the rest of my life how to do it. But if he hadn't broken up the relationship, I would not have had the opportunity to do that. And so I went on a soul-searching journey. And, so back to your other question, do I think everybody's in this position? No. I mean, some people, have that down. They're good. Do they want to feel better about themselves? I mean, I think people know if something's bugging them in their life, it could be really big or it could be just another thing to get over, or to move through. But the more aware I became, I dove into things like therapy and reading self-help books, and some of them were helpful and some of them were not so helpful, by the way. And but I found a mentor that, went through a few people. I found different people who mentored me in different ways. I was just seeking. I was open. I was a sponge. And along the way, different nuggets of wisdom came to me, and I wanted to embody them. So I'd write them down on index cards. And I'd refer to these index cards daily, like I was feeling something that I wanted to shift. I would go through these index cards and see if any of these principles that I was learning would help me, and then I could practice that. Whether I was dating somebody and I was frustrated they didn't call me. And that was really for me to look at, what am I really frustrated? Am I insecure about my own self-worth, or am I not trusting another person? So I looked through these cards with these nuggets of wisdom, and things became more clear. And after about 6 or 7 years of doing this kind of work, I had a body of wisdom and was embodying that wisdom that transformed my life. And I actually created the Feminine Power Cards, which you mentioned in the introduction, out of those index cards that helped me transform my life.
Very nice. And I'll just say I had the pleasure a few weeks ago to meet Laura's husband. She is now very happily married. So just to put a little bow on your story, do you want to say anything about that?
About my wonderful, amazing husband?
About that, you're talking about a very difficult time in your life,
yes.
but on the relationship side, the result in that for you, because you did all this deep practice, is what, as far as I know, is a very fulfilling relationship for you.
Yeah, we've been married now 9 years and together 11. And when I met him, there was an evolution in the guys that came into my life. And he was certainly more evolved and more wanting that. He wanted someone who wanted to work on relationship. I was like, that's a good sign.
That is a good sign.
When you can say that openly, that was a really good sign to me. And so I knew I had come to a place where I could attract him in my life. All men are practice for me at that time, when I was practice for me to learn more about myself.
Right, a lesson. Yeah, a lesson in loving, right?
Loving myself, but learning how to be someone who loves myself, really. He can't love me more than I love myself. It's just one of the principles.
Right.
So as I learned to love myself more, which I was really sick of hearing during my transformation, I'm like, what the heck does that mean? But it really became true. I realized the more I love myself, the higher quality of relationships I was able to create, and the higher quality or more conscious men I was attracting. It was really kind of awesome. Like, it was awe-inspiring. I was very curious. It was all like an experiment to me. Who do I have to become? Or, wow, I did that. Or I'm feeling this. Or, interesting. No, I no longer put up with that anymore,
Do you think that through this time in your life and today, what do you think the spiritual impact to all of that is? Do you think that spirituality plays a role in igniting joy and purpose in your life?
Well, I think with spirituality, it's kind of synonymous with consciousness in a sense. It's deeply connecting to oneself in a way that is open versus fearful or judging. So to me, spirituality means connecting deeply to oneself. And the part of me that is one with all, that oneness, that higher energy, a source, God, call it what you want. I don't have a name for it, actually. It's like oneness to me. But yes, the more time I spend staying conscious and connecting with this inner wisdom, this highest truth that is universal, that all religions teach. So therefore, it doesn't matter. Like religion is, to me, they all teach great truths that make life work. The more I can stay open to that wisdom that's available, the more flow there is in my life. It's just a practice of staying conscious to that.
And the story that you described about your own personal growth through times of trauma, that's exactly what you were doing. And you used the word embody a few times. You were embodying your own beliefs about being connected, raising your own consciousness, evolving. So thank you for answering that question.
Sure.
I think sometimes when people think about purpose, they automatically go to a Christian, religious-based place because of some of the literature that's out there, and that's okay. But there are many paths to get in line with your purpose.
Indeed.
So you talked about a lot of tools that you used for personal growth. Is there anything that you want to recommend or anything else you want to mention that someone might use for finding their own path and growing themselves more personally?
I'll mention a couple. I go to a very gentle yet deep yoga class that does allow me to connect through awareness of my body, as well as my heart and my mind. I find sometimes when you are moving your body and opening it in different ways, releasing those tight muscles, emotions will come up. So it's an opportunity to just pay attention to that. The other thing is guided meditations. And as a hypnotherapist, I decided I was going to create a tool that's free. If people want to go there, it's reenergizenow.com. You can download a free 15-minute guided meditation. I call it a mini vacation. It's really a time out in your life, to just take some time for you. And that's just, you never know what's going to can open up for you, new insight, new just refreshed feeling when you take that 15 minutes for yourself.
It's a big gift, isn't it?
Yeah.
That many people are reluctant to incorporate it into their lives because they feel like they're too busy. The thing that I love about mindfulness for my own practice is being busy has a whole new definition. And my daily practice, my mindfulness practice, just brings more openness and really more room and expands time in my life.
Indeed.
Amazing. Quite an amazing thing. Thank you very much for that great free resource. We'll put a link to that in our show notes so folks can get back to it and go download Laura's free meditation. We appreciate that.
Sure.
And I'll just mention that Laura and I are both in paradise here, sunny San Diego. Yoga classes are aplenty here, but I'm sure that if you're not aware of a yoga class in your city, that it'll be pretty easy to find one just by going to Google and looking around and asking at your gym. It seems like that yoga has really expanded or exploded in the U.S. in the last few years. And I'm sure Laura would be happy to help you find a yoga class if you couldn't find one. So I'm sure we haven't talked much about your social media business, but folks could have a lot of fun being out there finding your presence on social media, and I would encourage you all to do that. So that can be your assignment. See what you can find out about Laura online in all the social media.
It shouldn't be that hard to find
outlets. It will be very easy, I think. So you mentioned yoga, and we talked earlier about your book on transforming the body using the mind. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Do you think like the shape of your body and what's going on with your body is at all related to your mind and your spirit?
I truly believe when you feel good in your body, you feel good in your life. And when I feel good in my body, I feel more connected to my life purpose. So many people, I think, are unconscious about what's going on with their body. My book, Transform Your Body in the Mental Gym, really is about becoming conscious of the choices you make with regard to your body, whether it's how you move your body, what you put into your body, how your body's feeling. Some people use food as medicine, or to numb out some feelings. I understand that I have done that. There are times in my life I do it, but I'm very conscious when I'm doing it. Becoming conscious gives you power. And the book, and it's really a whole program. It comes with a hypnosis CD and a daily journaling journal and also a daily practices workbook. So it's all about empowering yourself, because the first step is awareness. When you get that, then you have the power of choice. When you get that, then you can choose to make things fun. When you get that, there are 5 different tools, mental tools I walk you through and help you practice in that. It's not just a book about shedding extra pounds. It actually gives you the tools to develop into the person who can easily transform your body or your life in any way you want.
Right. I love that. One of the modules of my Life Purpose, Finding Your Life Purpose program is transforming the body. And that's a coincidence that we're both using those words. So, Laura, just tell folks where can they find that if they'd like to do that study.
Transformyourbody.com.
Perfect. Transformyourbody.com. Thank you for mentioning that great tool. So do you think synchronicity plays a role in your life?
Yeah, probably. I don't think about it that much, but when synchronicities happen, it feels like confirmation and it feels like flow.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned earlier when you were talking about a different topic, you were talking about manifesting things into your life. So I think about that as being related to synchronicity.
I think about it as intention.
Right. Maybe 2 elements
Yeah.
that interact and dance together in bringing things into your life. Question about money. Do you make more money or less money now that you're aligned with your purpose? Does it matter? Are your values different? I think you talked a little bit about your values before. We didn't talk about what you were doing before you were the deliverer of joy.
I'm much more happy with the way I make money now. It's a more of a flow. I felt like a corporate slave before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have so much more joy around it. And I don't know that my values have changed, but my life is more in alignment with them. I got clear on what they were. And why did I lose that job and why did I lose that relationship? Is because I was totally out of alignment with my values.
Right. When you decided that you were going to change your life, how did your friends and family, how did they relate to you? Did you encounter any resistance for changing, for leaving that corporate job that you loved so much?
Well, I got laid off. So I got kicked out of one job and then I got laid off out of another. And then I realized the universe was saying, you know, corporate America and you are really not meant to be. So get a hint. So I did take some time off, and I don't remember how people responded. There were some people I let go of as friends because they weren't supportive, and there were others that swooped in and became very supportive. And my family was always fairly supportive. And in fact, when I went and got trained as a hypnotherapist, back to one of the hints of that I was on the right path was my mother said to me, "Laura, you have such a great hypnosis voice." And I'm like, "I do?" Like, I had no idea that just to get that confirmation from her, it meant a lot for me at the time. Because when I would jump into things like I've done network marketing type things, she's like, "Oh, why would you want to do that?" You know? So she was always looking out for me that way, and it didn't always feel supportive. So I did get support, luckily, and there were choices along my transformation road. I realized there were some people that were taking me on a path that were not in alignment with my values and where I wanted to go. I got put them on the 10-minute plan. So they called, and after 10 minutes, I got to go right now. I got something else to do. So
I recently heard a great statement from a client who said, "I have weeded my garden." Okay, I have a few questions that I'd love to ask you. Short answer questions, kind of rapid fire. Are you open to that?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So tell me and tell others, do you think that passion and purpose are the same things?
Nope.
And you told us this, I think, already before. Do you think everybody has a life purpose?
I think we have to take the pressure off people thinking that they have to find a life purpose and instead focus on what's most important to them. Then they'll be living on purpose.
Perfect. I almost feel silly asking you this question, but on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how important is following your joy and igniting your life purpose?
10.
10. Yay, 10. We talked about your jobs. Did you ever quit a job to follow your purpose? Do you think somebody should quit their job?
I have not actually quit a job. I've gotten laid off. But sometimes quitting or leaving a position frees you up to discover something greater. Might be the right thing to do.
And just in summarizing with you, thank you so much for spending time with us. Can you just tell us what brings you great, great joy?
So many things, because, like I said, joy is a choice. But it's from anything from consciously enjoying a purified glass of water. You know, you can have joy in that just one moment of drinking, to vacationing in Hawaii and having that soul-connected conversation with someone that impacts their life for the better, or just sitting on the couch looking at my husband and sharing a moment together. I mean, joy is in any moment, any time, because you can.
Right. Next question. If you unexpectedly amassed a good-sized fortune tomorrow, what would you do differently?
Not sure I'd do a whole lot differently, but I would definitely have a home where I could host my community gatherings, because one of my highest values is community.
I hope to be there when you find that.
You're invited.
Thank you. Thank you, friend. So I always end with a couple of questions about how you offer your gifts to the world, but I think we pretty much covered that with you. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Well, we mentioned the Transform Your Body program, and I'd love to give a gift back.
Oh, great.
Of $20 off the program for people.
Perfect.
It's really a coupon code they can just enter when they check out. It's LPA20 is the coupon code they can use, and that'll take $20 off. So it's normally $97. They'll get it for $77, and that includes the 3 books and the hypnosis audio, the workbook, the daily practices guide, the journal, and the book, and as well as the hypnosis, great weight, great shape audio.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you so much for that offer.
Yeah.
I look forward to hearing from all of you that buy Laura's program, and how I'd love to hear from you how it helps you. That would be wonderful. So we've talked about so many wonderful things that you do. I love how you create left and right-brained tasks and businesses to support you and honor the things that bring you joy in your life. Can you tell us what is the best way for people to learn more about you and connect with you? Maybe your website, or how would you like people to find you?
They can go to transformtoday.com. It's a great way to see kind of the overarching everything I do. I'm Coach Laura on Twitter, @Coach Laura. And just look me up. Transformtoday.com has links to everywhere. You can find me online.
Great. You can certainly find you online. Mm-hmm. So is there anything else you'd like to say for our listeners today?
Just encourage everyone to breathe. Sometimes that's all it is, and change your perspective. If your best thinking isn't working for you, it's a good idea to start shifting something, and oftentimes moving your body is a good way to do that. So get out and walk. Sometimes I'll go hang upside down even.
Hang upside down. Next time we have you on, we'll talk about hanging upside down. So it's been my great pleasure having you, Laura. We'll all come out and learn more about you online. And the lesson that I've learned from you today is to continue stepping into joy. Thank you again for leading by example.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you for listening to Life Purpose Ignited. We appreciate your reviews on iTunes and your feedback. There'll be other episodes for you to listen to, so subscribe and come learn how others, leaders, inspirational folks in the world are living their purpose today.